Now, this is one of the really frequent questions that I get. How can I get some degree of cooperation from my loved one with dementia in doing things that will help them out? And this is such an issue because with dementia, there are problems with understanding, there's problems with reasoning, so there may be a real big language barrier there. The person may not understand, why is it beneficial to take a shower? Why should I take my medications? And there are some basic things that we can do to increase our chances of success in getting our loved ones to do things that are beneficial for them. My name is Dr. Miguel Rivera, and my friends call me Dr. G, and I am an adult psychiatrist, and my practice is dedicated to those who have Alzheimer's disease and related dementias. The first step that I would recommend in trying to get our loved one to cooperate is to check in with ourselves. Take a moment, and before you even approach your loved one, how are you feeling? Take a second to self-evaluate. Are you feeling angry? Are you irritable? Are you in a rush? Or are you feeling calm and peaceful and you have enough time to go at their pace rather than to go at your pace? And this is important because we definitely want to avoid power struggles. The clearer you are, the slower you go, the more time you have for them, the more that you can go at their speed, the less likelihood of getting into a power struggle and getting them to get agitated or confrontational with us. So that's something that is really, really important. Check in with yourself and make sure that you are in the right mental state. I believe we all have an innate desire to help. And when we ask someone with dementia to help, it can make such a dramatic difference. It is actually the most common intervention that I use. If there is a patient who's agitated or having problems, I always approach from the front and say, "Can you please help me? I need some help." And in the majority of cases, that is enough to help to redirect whatever behavior is happening and introducing some new distraction or a new way to approach things. Like, let me give you an example. We had a patient in our unit who would sundown, get agitated in the afternoons, and would be very, very difficult to redirect. And actually, we had tried her on different medications and she didn't tolerate them. So we were kind of in a pickle. And we called the family and said, what do you recommend? What are things from her past that you think we can use to help with these behaviors? And the daughter told us that she used to have a laundromat and that she would spend hours folding clothes. So we went, wow, this may be the ticket. So what we did was that we brought in a big pile of clothes and cloth napkins, and we asked her, said, "Can you please help us with this?" And soon enough, she stopped the wandering, she sat down at the table with the pile of clothes and just sat there peacefully folding clothes. And we gave her enough clothes to fold clothes for maybe about 20 minutes. And when she finished that, she was able then to move on to dinner and there were no further behaviors. So this is such a good example about the power of asking for help. Another thing that is really beneficial is to use simple, easy to understand language. In addition, also to use nonverbal cues. I try to encourage my families to understand that the person with dementia may have problems understanding the language. They may have problems in reasoning or trying to make sense of what is it that you're trying to tell them. So to use simple language as if you were talking, let's say, to a younger child that that their domain of language is not great, that would be the way in which I would approach. Another way is to use nonverbal cues. For example, instead of telling your loved one, "Come on, let's go brush your teeth and brush your hair," You may go into the bathroom with them and just hand them the toothbrush with the toothpaste there. And they may not be able to understand when you're saying brush your teeth, but they'll see the toothbrush and they may be able to understand or know what is it that is expected. For example, another thing would be, instead of telling them, brush your hair, just hand them the brush. Brush your own hair, and then hand it to them and see if they can follow you. We all love music, and it is no different in someone with dementia. And actually, there is scientific data, research data, that shows that music is one of those things that can be so beneficial in those who have dementia. My first experience with it was in helping one of my residents who was very agitated during bathing. And what we did was that we called the family and we asked them what is her favorite music. And the daughter told us she loves country music. So I went to the activities department, we borrowed a boombox and a CD of Patsy Cline, and we put it in the bathroom with her, and voila, it was like automatic. It was unbelievable, the difference in her level of cooperation once we introduced music. Music can be helpful during activities of daily living. It can be helpful during meals. It can be helpful in anticipation of periods of agitation like sundowning, etc. Music can also be beneficial before they go to bed at night. I think it's one of those high-yield things to help our loved ones with dementia. Another thing that can be really useful is to use rewards. For example, we used it with my dad. His favorite thing to eat in the whole world was ice cream. And one of the ways in which we would motivate him to do things would be, hey Dad, come on, let's take a shower, let's do this, and then we'll have some ice cream and watch some tennis on TV. So to use things that you know that they like can be a good way to get them to comply. And ultimately, just know that if your loved one is offering resistance, you can always step away, give it a few minutes, reapproach them, and try again. So many times the person with dementia will be resistant, but if you give them a couple of minutes and you ask in a different way, they can then change their mind. Just know that everything is in the approach. So if you were not initially successful, just think, okay, what can I do that may make things better? Like if you just used like simple language, for example, and that wasn't fully beneficial, then you may just add the reward and say, hey mom, let's go for a walk, and when we get back, we'll have some ice cream, or we'll have some cookies, or we'll go for a drive, whatever it is that you know that your loved one really loves to do. If that is not helpful or beneficial, step away, give some time, come back and try again. Ultimately, sometimes these things may not be completely helpful. And if that is the case, then talk to your doctor, because sometimes, particularly during bathing and other situations, to give some small dose of medicine in anticipation of the activity can be helpful and beneficial. I hope that you found this to be useful. And if you have any questions, please leave them in the comment section below, and I will see you on the next video.